Hi guys, it's me, and I'm gonna try to be a little bit quiet because, well, I guess I can't be quiet. Our attic fan is on, so if you hear something weird vibrating out in the hallway, it's the attic fan. But it is very late. It is Tuesday night. The kids are sleeping. I have been crazy busy, as you guys know if you saw my last daily vlog. This past Memorial Day weekend was just a blur. I started out Thursday out at Lisa's house, flew out there, came back Saturday morning, and then spent Saturday, Sunday, and Monday just kind of running around, trying to spend as much time with the kids and with John, and also on the houses and the yard as much as I could because I'm leaving this coming weekend to LA for Generation Beauty Convention. So, it's just been a crazy weekend, and it's been a crazy week, and I haven't really been able to get this update up as fast as I wanted to, so I'm finally getting to it before I leave. I told myself, Kelly, you need to get it up before you leave because you're just going to forget if you don't. So I wanted to keep you guys up to date as much as I could time-wise, and unfortunately I failed this time, though the day in the life video, I did post that as soon as I got back, which that kind of showed you guys a little bit of what Lisa and I were kind of dealing with in regards to, you know, going to the first appointment and the psych eval and all of that. Starting off, this is going to be a little bit scattered, I apologize. Okay, where we left off last, I had started my birth control, which is right here. Oop, something just flew. As you can see, I am on my very last one. I need to call in for a prescription refill because I'm not going to be taking these sugar pills. Instead, they want me to continue taking the blue pills, the active pills. So I need to call in. What is my problem? I need to call in my pharmacy for a refill so that I can start those immediately, continue on the blue. The reason why they're doing that is because, as you guys know from the last update, or maybe not. Okay, so the last update, I think I told you guys we were headed for a June retrieval. That actually ended up not happening. Since then, we learned that it was going to be delayed till the end of July just because of legal issues and genetic issues, that kind of thing. Not issues, just like the process was longer than what they had told us prior to telling us that it was going to be a mid-June retrieval. So since then, that has happened. So that's what we were thinking, was that late July. So that's why I need to continue taking my pills, because they don't want me, they want to keep, you know, keeping my cycle, I just am going to put those down, keeping my cycle off bay, or at bay, until they're ready to manipulate my ovaries with their own hormones. So none of that made sense, did it? I am so scattered. I'm sorry. I'm just nervous because I'm just really excited. That's where we left off, was thinking that it was going to be a mid-June, and then we were told that it was going to be actually late July. Both Lisa and I were pretty bummed about that. I was a little bit relieved, to be completely honest with you, just because, as you guys know, I was just out there last weekend, and then this coming weekend I'm flying to LA, and it would have probably meant me going back immediately the following weekend and then staying for 2 weeks to stim and then do my cycle. So I was a little bit relieved knowing that we were, going to be pushed back a little bit, just so that way it would give us some breathing time to like get everything in order and stuff like that, because obviously I have 3 children and a husband that I need to be concerned about as well. But I was also really bummed because it was just like, man, we were so excited that this was happening, and to get this going, at the beginning of the summer, so we could enjoy the rest of our summers and stuff like that. But you know what? That's part of doing this. It's an unexpected. It's not, nothing's ever set in concrete when it comes to this, because we're dealing with people's bodies, legal stuff, that kind of thing. So we were willing to do whatever they wanted us to whenever. I kept telling the nurse, like when she was scheduling us, I was just like, John and I have dedicated this whole summer, we've dedicated this whole summer to this process, so just let us know where we need to be and we will be there and we will make it happen. So I flew out for my appointment. I found out kind of last minute, so plane tickets were kind of crazy because it is Memorial Day weekend, but I found out kind of last minute when I needed to be out there. When I went out to Lisa's, our appointment, my appointment, sorry, it's so weird saying my appointment, but my appointment included these things. So I had to go in to get genetic testing done, which I have bruising. I don't know if you can see it, but I have bruising from here all the way to here, and it is really painful for some reason. 3 days later, it's painful. And on my other side too, because she wasn't able to prick me, I guess, correctly the first time. But I had to get genetic testing done to make sure that there's no weird thing, that could affect the baby or pregnancy, that kind of thing, before they dump all this money into trying to retrieve my eggs, that, whatever. So I needed to get genetic testing done. They took about 10 vials, huge vials. It was like, I felt so lightheaded afterwards. So that was done. Then I had to meet with Katie, our nurse coordinator, and she, we had to do some paperwork and stuff, and there was a mix-up with our last nurse coordinator. I don't want to talk about her, but we had a mix up and they lost some paperwork, so I had to refill that out. It wasn't their fault by any means. It was just, whatever. So our new nurse coordinator is just super nice. She's just so sweet. She's just adorable. But she helped us do some paperwork, so I had to do that. What else did I do? Oh, I had to have an FDA physical exam, so I had my lady bits inspected, which was the second time for this month, so that was fun. I had that done by the actual doctor who Lisa has been dealing with, so I got to meet her. She was so cute, very excited for the process, which made me excited. And then I also had to have an ultrasound done, and again, the ultrasound tech was just amazingly nice. She looked over everything, which kind of made me feel better. She looked at my kidneys, my, uterus, and everything, and and it made me feel good to know that, everything was working and looking correctly. They wanted to do an ultrasound to make sure that my follicles were still at the same amount, or, just to know what my follicle count was, now that I've been on this hormone-based birth control. I'm still at 13. I have 8 on my left, 5 on my right. Again, the 5 on my right, because I have an endometrioma inside my ovary, which is a sac inside my ovary filled with old blood, which I'll get to that later. It's causing me probably not to have as many follicles on my right side, but it doesn't mean that my follicles aren't good. So my AMH levels are 4.1, which is like right on the cusp. It's like 4.0 is good, and then anything above 4.0 is really good. So I'm 4.1, so I'm on the cusp of good and really good, so that's good. So the doctor wasn't worried, because even though I do have kind of on a lower end follicle count, she's very excited about my AMH levels. So I'm hoping that I might not be able to produce tons of eggs, but I'll be able to produce a good amount of really good eggs, quantity over quality. So, but that's what she's hopeful for too. I've had 3 successful pregnancies, healthy kids, no, problems during my pregnancies. So that's what they're kind of going on to. Last thing was the psych evaluation. And when I say psych evaluation, I don't really think that's really what it should be called. It was more of just sitting down and talking to the counselor or psychologist. I don't know what she technically was, but it was more just sitting down with her, which she was very sweet, and just kind of talking about the expectations on my part, how I was feeling, what I expected after the babies were born, or just like what I expected out of a relationship with anybody involved in the situation, and just kind of how me and my husband felt about it, kind of why we were doing it, that kind of thing. I think because I'm not being paid any form of payment, because I'm doing this, I'm literally donating them, I think that our evaluation was kind of different than what it would probably be for an anonymous donor who is getting paid, because I think that evaluation is really there for, at least in my opinion, I think it's there to just make sure people are there doing it for the right reasons and not just to get paid. I'm not saying that there are people like that. I'm just saying that I think that's what the evaluation is mostly intended for, because she didn't really have a lot of questions for me. She kind of just let me lead the conversation, and I think it was, she said that me and Lisa's situation is kind of unique. She's never heard of people meeting online and doing this, and the fact that we're so close and have an open relationship, that kind of thing. She agreed that the way that we're trying to approach everything in regards to the relationship we'll have after the kids are born, and what role we'll play in their lives, she agreed that we seem to be going about it the right way, so that made me feel good. But yeah, it was mostly just talking to her. She wanted to know a little bit about me, my background, my family, see pictures of the kids, and just kind of wanted to talk to me to make sure I had, a good head on my shoulders, which she said that I did, thankfully. Whew. She also wanted to make sure that I knew and that I really understood that if, God forbid, this not work, that it's not my fault, which I know that I do, but I really want this to work. I know I don't have as much invested into this as Lisa and Bill do, because they've been struggling for, years, but I really want this to work. I just really want this to work. So I know it's not going to be my fault if it doesn't. She said that, spontaneous pregnancies, are different than forced pregnancies. And that's essentially what we're doing here. We're forcing Lisa to get pregnant with my eggs and Bill's sperm. And, we don't know how my eggs will react to Bill's sperm or vice versa, or my eggs to Lisa, and so she really wanted to make me understand that it wouldn't be my fault if this didn't work. And it just, I know that, I do, but, I just really wanted to work. So, but it was nice hearing that from somebody else. So that went really, really well. She had no issues with me whatsoever. Lisa and Bill had their psych eval on Tuesday, so today, and they said theirs went really well too. Where we're at now, like I said, everything went well at the appointment. You know, obviously we don't have the genetic results back yet. We'll get those back next week, but everything else looked really, really good. So where we're at now, whew, we're moving. We're nervous and we're moving. If you watched my day in the life video when I was out there visiting and doing my appointment, we got some really great news. You know, like I've said, you know, from the very beginning, it's really, this whole situation really feels like it's right. And usually I would say I don't want to jinx the situation, or I don't want to, well, basically jinx the situation, but I'm not looking at this situation as a superstitious thing anymore. I'm looking at it as I'm going to stay positive, because I think positivity is really strong, and, you know, if I put positive energy that's out there, they'll come back. So, I just have felt like everything's worked out timing-wise, and just, I know there's just been weird things left and right that have really worked out in me and Lisa's situation to get us to this point. And today, you know, this past weekend was no different. You know, everything checked out great. And, you know, we just, yeah. So, where we're at right now is that we were waiting. The things that were delaying us to possibly push us to the end of July were like legal issues, you know, it taking possibly longer to get a contract built up and stuff like that. Well, because I'm a known egg donor, and because, you know, I've had 3 successful pregnancies and my kids are all alive and healthy and stuff like that, Lisa and Bill are able to kind of push that. Like, instead of having to wait till my genetic testing came back next week, we've already started the lawyer processes now. So they've picked out their lawyer and I've picked out mine. When it comes to all of the legal fees, stuff like that, Lisa and Bill are footing the bill for that. I'm not paying for a single thing during this process. They are paying for that. I am just the donor, and they are covering all the expenses, just if you're wondering. I've had contact with my lawyer. Basically, all me and John are waiting for is for their lawyer to come up or draft a contract, and then they'll send it to ours, and then I'll have a Skyping conversation with our lawyers, and they'll go over it all, and if we feel like there need to be any changes in it, whether it be like, you know, the contact permissions, or, you know, what happens to the eggs after, or if something's worded wrong, you know, that's when we'll make our changes, and then we'll go back and forth until we're both satisfied with a good contract. Obviously, John and I, like I said in, you know, our question and answers video, we're willing to do anything that they want. If they want us involved, awesome. If they don't, we totally understand. We're not doing this to gain a niece or nephew or another child, or, you know, anything like that. We're just doing this because we really want them to be able to have kids of their own. So I don't think there should be any issues with lawyer stuff, honestly. I mean, we'll agree to whatever basically they want. Although I shouldn't say that. We won't agree to certain things, like, you know, if I won't agree to let them redonate the eggs, obviously, because, well, that's just not what I want to happen. That's not what John wants to happen. So there's stuff like that that obviously we'll put in the contract. But Lisa and Bill and John and I have all talked about that already, so that's not going to be an issue. But in other words, we're going to be happy with whatever basically they want. You know, we'll sign off on that. So that shouldn't be an issue. So that should go pretty quickly. That was one thing that was holding us up and possibly pushing us to the end of July. Another thing was the genetic testing. It was supposed to take, I believe, 7 to 14 business days. They're going to they pushed it so that way we could get ours back sooner. So with that being said, our cycle dates, our, you know, my stimming and her transfer was able to get bumped up. So at the end of our appointment, we sat down with Katie, and she basically showed us a calendar and said, these are the dates that we want you guys to start. And literally, Lisa and I looked at each other. She was just chewing up her fingers, and I was almost about to hyperventilate, because it means starting really soon. So it's not as soon as June, thankfully. Again, it's going to be nice to have that breather, but not only did I find out that I'm going to have to be out there for the 2 full weeks of my stimming, but it's going to start literally July 1st, basically. I'm going to start I actually have the schedule. Let me get it real quick. I'll show you the calendar. So this is the fun little calendar she gave us. So what this has me on, because I have super bad endometriosis, their whole thing is they want me to be as comfortable as possible. So they have me on a Lupron schedule. So this is not going to be like the basic schedule for everybody. Again, this wouldn't be, even if you had endometriosis, this might not be the same schedule you'd have if you decided to donate eggs. This is just what they put me on specifically. I'm going to start Lupron on June 23rd. I will get blood work done at a local lab here, a specific one that they wanted, on June 24th. And then I will continue the Lupron throughout this whole time. I will get an ultrasound done to count my follicles once again on the 25th. And then on the 26th, I will stop my birth control. This is all next month. This is when that's happening. Then on the 27th, 28th, 29th, I'll still stay on my Lupron. Then June 30th, I will begin stimming, which that means I'll start doing the hormone injections. July 1st, July 2nd, I'll still be on my injections. And then by July 3rd, I need to be at Lisa's for my first appointment. And basically, I will just have appointments until they think that I'm ready to harvest. That sounds terrible, but I think that's essentially what that is. My retrieval dates are going to be anywhere between 11 and 13th. So that is, again, a full week and a half after that. So it's very scary because that means me being out there essentially for 2 weeks because they are not confident with the monitoring that I could get here. And, you know, Lisa and Bill are spending so much money on this process that I don't want anything to mess it up. I don't want the fact that if I'm here and God forbid something goes wrong or my body reacts more quickly to the hormones than they think and I can't get out there in time, I don't want that to ruin that for them. So the best thing for everybody involved, everybody agreed, was for me to be out there during my whole stimming. Because I'm going to be out there that long, I am taking Kaya with me, obviously, because she's the youngest and she would just probably freak out if I was gone that long, and I would probably die inside if I was gone that long from her. So she needs me the most. Wyatt, as you guys know, is more of a daddy's boy. He, I think, will be better off without me for that extended period of time. He's almost 4. You know, Ava will be at her dad's part of the time, so it doesn't make sense to take everyone with me because I don't know how I'll be on my hormones and we'll be in a foreign place. So what's going to happen is Lisa and Bill are going to come out to our house the weekend before my first appointment. So June 27th, or they'll come out, which is a Friday, or they'll come out Thursday. We're not sure yet, but they'll come out that weekend. Wyatt's birthday is the 30th, which is the Monday, so we're going to do a fun birthday party for him, and they'll hang out and be here for his birthday, which is cool because they were here last year too. And then sometime between June 30th and June 3rd, I'm going to go back with them. They're going to drive me and Kaya back with them to their house with all of our junk because I'm going to need a pack and play. I'm going to need all of our stuff for 2 weeks. I'm going to need diapers. I'm going to need all that junk. So the easiest way that we could think to transport everything and car seats and all that was for them to come out and get me. Obviously I could fly, but it'd be more expensive and then it'd be more stressful and I wouldn't know how I was getting some stuff there. So they're going to drive me out there. So again, I will be out there for almost 2 weeks essentially because I don't know when my retrieval will be in that 3-day period in that weekend because I have to stay out there at least 24 hours after my procedure. So if I have my retrieval on the 13th, which is the Saturday, I'll have to be out there Sunday and Monday, if you get what I mean. So essentially I need to prepare myself for being out there for 2 weeks. So we're gonna go out with them, be out there by July 3rd for my first appointment, and basically it'll be I'll know if I have another appointment the next day, the same day. Basically, they're gonna say, oh, you're looking good, you can go home, we'll have an appointment in 2 days, or they'll say you need to come back tomorrow. Luckily, I can do all those appointments at the place that is closer to Lisa and Bill, so that's good. But yeah, we'll be out there. Now, John really wants to be out there for my retrieval. I really want him out there. The doctor said that my endo is going to be at its worst probably towards my retrieval date, you know, especially after I do the trigger shot when I ovulate. And then after, she said I'm going to be probably in a lot of pain. So he wants to be out there. I want him out there as well. So he doesn't have a whole lot of vacation time left over, unfortunately. And obviously we want to save some because it's still halfway through the year, you know, for holidays and stuff like that. But what he's going to do is he's going to come out either July 9th or July 10th with Wyatt, and then he'll be there for the retrieval and for some days before that and stuff. And Ava will possibly be there too, depending on what her dad says. So he'll be out there, he and Wyatt will be out there for us for essentially like 5 days. 2 days before the retrieval, during the retrieval, and then whatever time after, and then we'll drive back with them. If I'm not ready to go back, if something happens or I need to be there longer, Bill said that he would drive me and Kaya back to the house as well, which hopefully we won't have to do that. I'm hoping for an early retrieval date so that we can get home by Monday, but you know, again, you never know. So that was a lot of information I just gave you guys. Now you know how me and Lisa felt when we were sitting there. We kind of got really overwhelmed because it's just like so many dates, you know, and it was all kind of scattered, and I apologize if I didn't explain that correctly, but essentially all you need to know is that I'm starting my process June 23rd with a Lupron, and I will be taking some type of injectable until the July 19th because I'll have to also stay on the Lupron to get my ovaries back together for a week after the retrieval. So for basically 3 to 4 weeks, I'm going to be just shooting myself up with something. And then I will be, again, out in her area, staying with her and Bill for 2 weeks with Kaya, and then John and Wyatt will join us, possibly Ava too, the last week. The reason why I'm staying with Lisa and Bill, I don't think it would normally work this way if you had an anonymous donor. An anonymous donor would, you know, you would pay for their hotels and flight, and they would stay at a hotel. You wouldn't know where they were, that kind of thing. The reason why I'm staying with Lisa and Bill is A, they have the room, and B, I don't want to be cooped up in a hotel by myself with Kaya. That sounds terrible. You know, hotels, I always get sick because the air is so dry and you can't open the windows, and they're just not very homey. And it's nice that I can stay with Lisa and Bill because we all feel comfortable together and stuff. And I would rather stay with them because it saves them a buttload of money if I don't have to be out there 2 weeks in a hotel. So, and I'm happy to stay there. You know, it'll be fun to be able to hang out with Lisa. It'll be like, you know, we live near each other, you know, for 2 weeks. And I know she's excited to see Kaya, and I know Kaya's going to be super excited to be the only child. She just loves it when nobody else is around. That's kind of what's happening. I, again, feel like I just overloaded you guys with information, but that's basically what Lisa and I got. Like, if you watch my day in the life, like, after we got out of the appointment, we were both kind of like, just super overwhelmed because it was just overwhelming. Now, I'm not going to talk about Lisa's side. Obviously, you can go see her update, but I will just mention, if for those who are wondering, 5 days after my eggs are retrieved, whatever time that happens in that 3-day window that they gave us, that is when Lisa will have hers implanted. So within those 5 days, I don't know if they'll call me to tell me how many eggs, you know, made it through, you know, all of that, you know, getting inseminated and stuff like that. I don't know, like, not inseminated, that's not the right word, but you know what I mean. I don't know if I'll know any of that information. Like, I don't know if they'll personally call me and say, hey, you had 6 successful eggs that lasted that we're going to implant, you know. I don't know those things. I do know that Lisa, of course, would tell me, though. So hopefully within that 5 days we'll know what survived and what grade my eggs were. But I'm just really, again, hoping quality over quantity. Again, I just really want good eggs for them. So on my end, I should probably mention this. I've been taking a bunch of supplements. I've been taking folic acid. I've been taking, like, niacin, which helps my nerves. That's not really for what, you know, the eggs. But I've been taking folic acid, vitamin C, you know, just vitamin D. I stopped that since the sun's been out. But B12s, stuff like that, just to make myself as healthy as possible for this. I don't know if it'll affect my egg quality, but, you know, why not? Like I said, I know I'm not as invested in this as Lisa and Bill are, obviously, or even their family members, but I really want this to work for them. So I'm really trying as hard as I can as the donor to be able to supply as good of eggs as I can. So, and be as flexible. That's another thing is, you know, Katie and Lisa are very worried and concerned about our schedules and really wanting to make sure we're okay with everything. But like I said, me and John, when we agreed to do this, we agreed wholeheartedly to do this, you know, and I knew that, you know, it was going to be a few months process. I knew that we were going to have to, like, dedicate time to this. So, you know, everyone's concerned about our schedules, and trust me, I'm concerned too. I mean, this 2 weeks is going to be really weird and really hard probably to get through being away from John. This is the longest I'll ever be away from him. And not being at home. I'm a homebody. I really like being at home. You know, it's going to be really hard. I'm not going to lie. And I'm not going to lie, I'm scared shitless about the pain that I might go through. I know I haven't really expressed it too much yet, but now as it's getting closer and I know exactly what's happening more, I'm very scared. I'm very concerned. I'm very scared for, you know, the pain levels I'll be at. And I won't be at home and I won't be with John. You know, I'll be out of my comfort zone, and that really makes me nervous, you know. But with that being said, like I said, John and I committed ourselves to this. When we offered our eggs to them, we didn't do it half-assed. We didn't do it like, you know, we really thought this out. And I feel like, I don't know, even though I'm stressed out about the schedules and stuff, we knew this was coming. We made it so that our summer was completely open, so that way when they said, this is when you need to be here, we could say, okay, we'll be there. This is Lisa and Bill's, like, one shot. Not necessarily like one shot and they're done, but, you know, this is taking a toll on them, and I want to make sure, and John wants to make sure, that this is as successful as it can be. So, yes, we've set aside this time. You know, it's going to be stressful trying to work out everybody's schedules and, you know, dealing with the kids away from home and, like I said, everything else, but, you know, it'll be worth it. If this works, oh my God, will this all be worth it? Even if it doesn't work, like, I'll just be happy that, you know, that I at least tried. I don't know. I mean, I'll be really disappointed, but I don't know. I'm not going to concentrate on the negative, but if this works, it'll be, I mean, it'll be pretty amazing. You have to admit. I mean, seeing Lisa pregnant will just be totally, I mean, a drop in the bucket, you know? Will all be a drop in the bucket if I can see her pregnant. So, and John feels the same exact way. You know, he said Lisa's really concerned about the way John's going to be feeling and stuff, and really worried and feels bad about him. But, you know, she said, you know, apologized to him in her face. I mean, he said, just like I said, you know, Lisa, you know, we committed to this. We're happy to do this. And he basically said, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for Kelly because she really wants to do it. And so, and it's true. He's being really flexible because he really wants to make me happy, and he knows how much I want to do this. But he loves Lisa and Bill too, and, you know, we talk about it all the time. It'll be really nice to see them have kids. So, so yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll go over more of the drugs and stuff once they're ordered and once they get to me. A few of the things, I'll go over stuff like the retrieval and stuff that's expected, and kind of the concerns that I might have after the surgery, and I'll also go over like the stuff that could possibly happen, like the bad stuff, later when I'm closer to the retrieval. But again, that's not going to be for another month and a half. I don't know how I'm going to document while I'm out. I don't know. The best way to follow me if you want up-to-date details, or Lisa's, is probably on my Facebook for me. I have a Facebook fan page. Just search Babybellykelli with an I on Facebook and I'll pop up. But that's the best way. I update there all the time. That's where I'm going to probably be able to update when I'm going through everything. My husband will do that, or Lisa will do that, or Instagram, I'm there too. But, you know, I don't think YouTube will be as quick of a response if you're really wondering what's going on when we get closer to the retrieval. But yeah, so current feelings, super excited. Super anxious, super nervous, super scared, but super happy. But yeah, we are a go. We are a go. I wanted to tell you guys a fun little fact real quick. So when Lisa and Bill were out here, when did they come out? Last month. They were out here last month. So when they were out here last month, we were just talking about baby names, right? And I'm not going to say the baby name out loud because I don't want to ruin it for Lisa. I don't know if she's telling people her, you know, possibles. But we were talking about baby names, and she said, oh, you know, this is a name that is on the top of our list for a girl. You know, me and Bill really like this name. And then she said it, and I go, are you being serious? She's like, yeah, why? I said, I'm pretty positive that's what my mom wanted to name me. And sure enough, I texted my mom. I didn't even tell her why I was texting her. I said, Mom, were you going to name me this if you weren't going to name me Kelly? And she goes, yep, that's what I was going to name you. And it was just like one more thing, you know, one more thing that it was just so crazy that Lisa and Bill, I never told them this information before, came up with this name, and it was a favorite of theirs. And sure enough, it was the name that my mom, it was her first choice actually, was this name for me. But then they changed their mind last minute and named me Kelly instead. But it was just like, again, another sign that I really feel like this is meant to be. And I don't know. I'm just super excited. Like, I'm like moving. I can't ever sit still when I'm excited. Have you guys noticed that? Or when I'm really nervous or anxious, I'm like, whoa. I was so much more poised and put together in Lisa's video, let me tell you. But anyways, that's a lot of information. This is a long video. I'm going to have an update. I've been updating as well on my blog, www.babybellykelli.com. I'll leave a link to that blog post underneath here. But if you go there, you'll get just more of a detailed, more concise explanation of everything instead of this jumbled mess that you're receiving right now, face to face. But if you want to like go back and look at old previous posts and stuff, they're all there. But yeah, I know Lisa's really excited too. We did do a questions and answers video while I was out at Lisa's house. I will link that video underneath here. It is on Lisa's channel. I'm not going to post it here because that just seems redundant, but I will leave that video under here. If you have any questions for me and John said that he would be happy to answer any questions that you guys might have from like the husband's perspective of the situation. Or if you have any questions for me as the donor, feel free to leave them below. And yay! We're doing this, right? We're doing this. But yeah, and then I do know that I think Lisa wants to do another questions and answers video on her channel again when I'm out there. So again, if you have any questions, just leave them below. Yeah, we're super excited. So anyways, I will talk to you guys all in my last video. Again, I probably forgot something. If I did, just go to my blog post. Everything will be so much better there and not so this. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.